to make sure it's up. All right, for anybody that's in the actual Zoom call, if you could let me know, either in the chat or you can come on and tell me, but just make sure that my screen is shared. Okay, it looks like it is on Facebook, so that's a good thing. Okay, all right. Welcome, everybody. Today, we are talking about marketing, and we are talking about specifically the mistakes that we make when we are investing in our marketing, okay? So I'm going to drop this link into the comments on Facebook. If you are watching on Facebook, I highly recommend that you join us on the actual Zoom call. I want to see your face. I want to chat. I want to actually, make this a work together kind of call. So if you are in Facebook, hop on over to the Zoom call. I will let you in as soon as it tells me that you are like waiting, because sometimes it doesn't tell me that. I'm going to pull up that window. Okay. Hi, look at you. Oh my gosh, you even have a headset. Look at you. I love it.
Hi.
You are so fancy. All right. All right. I'm going to mute you just so that we don't have any background noise. Okay. All right. So first things first, if you don't know me, if this is the first call that you have hopped on this year, my name is Jessie. I have 12 years of serial entrepreneurship experience. I spent 10 of those years in the wedding industry, both for photography and for luxury stationery, okay? Before I pivoted into this kind of like business to business world, which is now 1000% my passion. I am super, super passionate about using my 12 years of experience and my creative skills, knowledge, and just overall experience to help other women chase their dreams as well. Okay, so I don't want you guys to make the same mistakes I did along the way, and that's why we are here today. All right, so I am many things. I am maybe too many things, but that is fine. I am a branding photographer, a brand designer, a web builder, small business coach, a social strategist, a podcaster, course creator, boy mom, beer enthusiast, sunset chaser. But like my overall goal and title of this is that I am your Chief Empowerment Officer. Okay, so with that, we are going to jump right in. Kate, I see you on Facebook. Hop into the Zoom call, girlfriend. I know this isn't your first rodeo. Okay, so let's talk about marketing. Okay, what is marketing? If anybody is watching live or in the chat, let me know what you guys actually think marketing is. What does the word marketing mean to you? Because I feel like marketing is a very it's a very like broad term that like everybody thinks something different about it. And that's fine. It's not really like a bad thing per se, but I want to just kind of clarify what people might think marketing is versus what marketing actually is. Okay. All right. So marketing is the activities, the processes for creating, communicating, and delivering and exchanging offerings that have value for your customers, your clients, your partners, and just the society at large. Okay. So Maureen says that marketing is positioning yourself to attract your ideal client. Okay. So she could not be more on point. Okay. So in simple terms, marketing is how you attract an ideal customer's attention to a specific product or service and your efforts to convert them into an actual customer or a sale. Okay, so everything that you do from a marketing standpoint, the ultimate goal should be to convert them into a sale. Okay, obviously we're all here to make money. Marketing is how we are going to make money, but marketing done wrong is going to cost us a lot of money. Okay, so that's what we're talking about today, is the mistakes that a lot of us are making and hopefully getting everybody to stop that. Okay, all right, so jumping in, right, all right, so mistake number one is focusing too much on quantity over quality. Okay, I literally have this discussion on almost a daily basis with all my business coaching clients, and it is just really interesting to me how much society has built us into this like human that like we are so obsessed with this number. We are so obsessed with like having 10,000 followers or like having X amount of sales, and like there's this like overall just crappy stigma around like what it means to be successful. Okay, and in the social world, engagement like the engagement rates in the algorithm matter so much more than your follower count. Okay. And if you think about it, it's actually kind of backwards, because your follower count is actually working against you when you are like so obsessed with that number, and like maybe you're buying leads, or you are like doing collaborations to purposely like build how many followers you have on social media. Okay, you're actually working against you, because what you're doing is you're bringing in people who are not your ideal client. Okay, so like attempting to talk to the masses is working against you because your engagement rates are way lower. Okay, so quality over quantity any day of the week for social media. Okay, let's see why this isn't transitioning. Okay, so a way around that is to focus on narrowing your marketing message for higher conversion. Okay, and to do that, you need to reach the right people instead of just a lot of people. Okay, so if you want to feel like the efforts you're putting into your marketing are like giving you a return, you need to be putting the effort into your marketing going to the right place. Okay, so as a quick example, I am a branding photographer, business coach for women specifically. Okay, now do I shoot for men? Yeah, like project kind of has to like make sense for me, but yes, I do. I'm not like not inclusive. However, men are not my target client. So I am not going to waste my time nor my money marketing to them, because they are not my ideal client. Could they be a client? Yes, but we're talking about ideal target clients with this. Okay, never ever waste your marketing money, especially on reaching people that don't matter. Okay, because like I said before, the end goal is always to convert them into a sale or a new customer. Okay, so your product or service is not for everyone. Okay, but that's okay. That's actually a good thing, because the more that you can narrow that down, the more you realize like that the people who you start to talk to and the people who you start to really target out, you're getting a lot more feedback, you're getting a lot more engagement, and you're reaching the right people. Okay, I am someone that is a very good example of I am not for everyone. Okay, I have calls with people and like they're like blank faced and they're just like so overwhelmed with me. Okay, and guess what? That's okay. I'm okay with the fact that I am too much for people, because if I'm like, when I'm like way too much for people, that's okay. They're not my client. I'm not their right person. And yeah, that kind of sucks sometimes in the small business world, because of course, all we want to do is make money. Of course, all we want to do is get all these clients and do all these projects. That's cool. But that's short-term mindset. Okay. Long-term mindset is definitely based on getting your ideal client in the door and then getting more of your ideal client in the door. The goal is not to just have a million projects and be just like moving in a million directions, because that's where burnout happens. Okay. So we want to kind of backtrack that and make sure that you can sort of get into the mindset of the fact that you are not for everyone. That's okay. You are for someone. I promise you, you are for plenty of people. You are for someone, but you are not for everyone. And that's okay. All right. Does anybody else who might be watching, do you guys struggle with this at all? Do you struggle with feeling like you have to be that person for everybody, or you have to be everybody, or you have to be everything for everybody? Like, does anybody else struggle with that? I definitely struggle with that in certain instances, but I have, ever since I transitioned from what I was doing before into what I'm doing now, I feel a lot different about this, because you live through the experiences of working with clients who you might have even known in the beginning in your gut that they were not a good fit for you. Okay, we've all done it, we've all been there. Okay, but the reality is that feeling sucks, and I don't want to like put myself in that feeling very often, or like if I can help it, I never want to be in that feeling. Okay, so for number one, I want you guys to stop thinking about like quantity and start thinking about quality. Okay. All right, moving on. Make sure I don't mute myself here. Canva is so silly sometimes. Okay, so marketing mistake number 2 is using a weak call to action or not using one at all. Okay, now this is something that is a very widely talked about thing, and in Instagram and Facebook, especially when you can't necessarily put a button you can put a link, but like sometimes the links are long and like, I get it. Like there's a lot to keep in mind. But if you are not telling your customer or your potential customer what to do, they're not going to do anything. Okay. So if you guys are just on the Zoom call and you're like staring at me and I'm like, okay, I have this service, and you're like, okay. And I'm like, well, I do photography too. And you're like, okay. And I'm like, well, I do websites too. Okay. Did you need a website? Like, can I do branding photos for you? Do you want to book a service with me? Like, if I don't tell you what to do, you're just going to sit there and be like, okay. And then it's going to get awkward. So you're going to be like, and you're going to beeline out of here. Okay. If you are not telling these people exactly what to do, they're not going to do it. Okay. And adults, I mean, think about this, you guys. Think about your own mindset in just life right now, in social media, in technology. Like, we have the attention span of a 2-year-old when it comes to technology and social media. Like, we have worse attention spans than our kids. And I have someone who will literally say, like, my kid has zero attention span. Like, he is in 1,000 directions. He's just like me. But the reality is, so do we. When it comes to this world, so do we. If you think about when you're scrolling on Instagram or Facebook, something's gotta like stop you in your tracks and tell you something new for you to stop. Otherwise you just scroll, oh, that's cute. Oh, that's cute. Okay, does this make sense? All right, so I did a survey a while back, like for the general public, and it was about their overall web experiences, and like specifically when they were searching for a new product or a service provider. And the number one answer I got from people, okay, this was like a multiple choice kind of thing, or like choose one thing. Okay, the number one answer I got was, if I'm at all confused or it's not easy for me to complete the conversion or complete the action or to buy the thing, I'm out. I'm gone. I'm already gone. Okay. So you have to understand that with that like really short-term mind, or that really short-term attention span, like you have to like get in, make them come out, and like it's got to be easy. Okay. So some ways around that. You want to make sure you focus on command verbs. Okay. So for e-commerce type of shops, that's going to be the words buy, shop, order. Okay. If you're service-based, or maybe you're a blogger or anything like that, you know, you're looking at like download now, subscribe now. Okay. Those words are telling people what to do. Those words are verbs, and you are literally telling that person what to do. Is the person going to do it every time? No, I am not saying that using a command word is going to like foolproof. Everybody's going to download this all the time. Okay. But the ideology is that if you don't even have that, nobody is going to move forward, because you didn't give them an option and you didn't tell them what to do. Okay. So you want to focus on your unique selling point. What is it that makes you different in your industry from somebody else? Okay. There was another co-working call we did where it was like talking about soap, and it was like, buy this handmade organic soap. Okay. It wasn't just soap I was buying. It was handmade. It was organic. Okay. You want to use those adjectives to describe what makes you different from everybody else in your industry. Okay. Provoke emotion or excitement. Okay. Now, I put a lot of exclamation points there because you don't want to do that. You don't want to overwhelm people with exclamation points, but a single exclamation point can absolutely have like make or break your sale. Okay. If you show that you're excited about this too, the chances of somebody else being excited about this are a lot higher. Okay. And very, very important, is your offer mobile responsive? Okay. There are so many different like numbers in this, but the average, like I took a bunch of averages of like what everybody's saying percentage wise, but the average that I got after looking at 10 different like sites talking about who's on mobile, who's on desktop, 77% of people are viewing your offers on mobile or a tablet, a phone or a tablet. Okay. If your offers are not mobile responsive, you are losing out by a lot, because right off the gate, people are having a poor user experience. People are confused. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't look good. It's not like, it just doesn't flow. Okay. So if you are still making offers that are not necessarily mobile friendly, be aware of that. Think of ways that you can make those a little bit more user friendly, because this day and age, we are on the go all the time, especially us. We're all business owners. We're all jumping around a million things. Okay. I would say I am definitely in that 77%. Am I at my computer every day? Yeah, but I'm working on my computer for the most part. Anything that comes into like my email on my phone is when I'm going to be like actually looking into something. Okay. But the number one thing to remember about this is that as humans, the first thing we all think is what's in it for us, like what's in it for me. Okay, so when you're making these call to actions and you're telling them, you want to make it relevant to them, and like you want to think about the problem you're solving for them with this product or this service or whatever, and utilize that into your call to action, into your marketing, because if they don't know what's in it for them, they are not necessarily enticed to buy it. They might think it's pretty, but like if it's pretty and it makes me lose 20 pounds overnight, damn, I'm in. Okay, because now you got me with the fact that like you can do this for me. Okay, does that make sense? Does anybody have any questions about either number one or number two before we move on? I feel a tickle, so I'm going to take a sip. All right. Let's move on. Number three, over relying on social media. Okay, this kind of goes along with number one on the quantity over quality, because I feel like I have a lot of conversations about the quantity over quality or quality over quantity thing, but it also comes down to social media. Okay, so over relying on social media is, now I'm not saying, let me preface this by saying, I'm not saying that you can't make money on social media. I'm not saying that there are not ways for you to utilize social media to monetize your business. Okay, but that is also not a long game thing. Okay, there are never ending algorithm changes when it comes to social media. Not only that, but the algorithm for each social media platform is different. Okay, like talk about like things that are hard to keep up with. Okay, there are new platforms popping up daily. Okay, that's never going to end. That's just the technology world that we're in right now. Everybody's trying to come up with a better way to solve problems for people. Okay, but that's a good thing. That means like we're all in business for a reason. But that is a constant change. Okay, and I'm just going to put it out there: device addiction. Okay, I'm going to raise my hand right now too, because I am 1,000% freaking guilty. Okay, there are days where I'm like, where's my phone? I gotta know where my phone is. I gotta know if anybody's trying to like message me on Instagram, or if anybody's texting me, or if anybody. Device addiction is real, you guys. Social media addiction is real. Like this is a real thing. Like I know people who literally have gone to like treatment to like get over their addiction to social media. Okay, so just keep in mind that like over relying on social media is not necessarily taking your business to the next level, but it's also taking like your personal health back like 10 steps minimally. Okay, and I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say this loud, and I'm going to say this a million times over. Posting on social media alone and hoping for a sale or conversion is not a marketing plan. Okay, could it be part of a marketing plan? Sure, but posting on social media alone is not a freaking marketing plan. Okay, it is not a marketing plan. Social media, you want to use it to reach your customer. Okay, you got to know where your customer hangs out so that you can reach them, so that you can grab their attention. Okay, but you want to utilize the social media to reach them and then guide them to somewhere where you have more control. Okay, so you want to guide them to your website where you have full control over their user experience. Okay, that's very, very, very important, because user experience is everything. Someone comes to your site and they don't know what to do, they're out. Okay, the chances of them staying longer than 15 to 20 seconds is so low. Okay, you want to utilize your website to build trust and ultimately convert them into customers. Okay, so that is that whole marketing ideal. You want to reach them, you want to reach the right people, you want to bring them into a space where you can control them, and then you ultimately want to convert them. Okay, so don't forget, social media is just an Uber for your customer. Okay, people get a kick out of this every time, so I'm just gonna like hang on to this. Maybe I should like trademark it or something, but like social media is an Uber to take your customer from Instagram, from Facebook, from LinkedIn, from the 100 different social media platforms that you could be, posting on. Okay, it's the Uber that takes them to your website. Once they get to your website, they read about your services and they figure out what problems you can solve for them. And then ultimately they have questions, they want to talk, they want to book. Now you're building that trust and you're building a conversion plan. Okay, I almost said conversion van. A conversion plan. Okay. Very, very, very important. All right. Does anybody have any questions about over relying on social media? Because I know that this is a very, very hot topic that I have with like all of my business coaching clients. Like everybody wants to talk about social media. And I'm like, guys, you are worrying way too much about social media. Worry more about the space that you can control and then utilize the social media options to bring them into that controlled space. Okay. All right. I don't see any questions, so let's move on. All right. Number 4, neglecting your website. Okay. No, I am not just saying this because I'm a web designer, but this is also very important because just like I said before, you want to control your user experience. Okay. When you're using social media and all these different advertisements, everything that you're doing in your marketing efforts is to bring them to your controlled space. Okay. So it's very important to recognize that technology and design trends are always evolving. They'll continue to evolve. That's never going to end. That's just, again, like that's the life we live in. Okay. So falling behind can result in some of these things. Okay. Outdated information. Okay. This happened to me before I launched my new website. Okay. Somebody reached out and they were really excited about whatever package it was. I don't even remember, but my pricing on that website was completely wrong. Okay. So now I'm in the position where I have to decide, do I tell them, oh, well, that's actually not my pricing anymore. Here's my actual pricing. Or do I suck it up and give them that pricing because it was on my website? And like, now I'm losing because I was the idiot who didn't update my website. Okay. So outdated information. Is there a location? Did you change studios? Did you change addresses? Is somebody getting information? Is somebody like coming to an appointment and they went to your website for your address and it was wrong, so they went somewhere else? Okay, this has happened to me before, all because I did not pay attention to like those little details and I did not make sure that the information I was giving them was correct. Okay, because there were so many avenues of ways that they could get in touch with me that I did not put my focus on the main point of controlled user experience. Okay. Also, poor searchability or lack of SEO, okay? Outdated information absolutely plays right into your SEO. If you don't know what SEO is search engine optimization, okay? This is how people find you organically on Google or any other. I know that there's multiple like searchable sites, but if somebody goes online and they say Chicago branding photographer, they are not going to find me on my old website because it was god awfully old and did not have the right keywords. Okay. So keywords is a whole nother thing as well, as far as like your outdated information. Okay. Before I launched my new website, I thought it would be really cool to like develop my own title. Like I had a new title. Okay. So I was like a visual content strategist. I felt really cool. I felt really like, yeah, this like really entails what I do. Guess what? Nobody is searching for a visual content specialist because it doesn't really exist. Okay. So I thought it was really cool and all, but like nobody is finding me because I was so obsessed with like trying to come up with something cool that I was not paying attention to the fact that that kind of information was outdated. Okay, so when my new website launched, it was more like, okay, who am I and what do I do? I am a branding photographer. I am a website designer, like using keywords that people are actually freaking searching for. Like that's a big deal. Okay. Older technology can also produce slower loading speeds. Okay. Raise your hand if you are someone that if you hop on a website looking for something and you see that little spinning thing, or it takes more than 10 seconds for that site to open, you are like, bye. Sorry, bye. Yeah, okay, yeah, Maureen's on board too. See, okay, like, bye. That's a huge problem. And when it comes to platforms, you're talking like Wix, Squarespace, Showit, all of these platforms that you can build these websites on. If you don't stay up to date with their technology, now people are not even like going to your website because they can't get further than 10 seconds in. And they're just like, no, I don't care anymore. And on to the next person they are. That's the reality, guys. That's not just like me saying like your website needs some like updating. That's me saying like reality of the situation is nobody is waiting for your website to load. And if you are a photographer watching this, this is very big for you because our images, if you do not correctly like size them for your website and you don't correctly compress things, I'm sure your website loads slow because you're talking about like so much data to load and like almost your entire website is photos because that's what you do. You better make sure that you're up to date with technology and that your site loads and that your user experience is something that you can control. Okay, so that next item, poor user experience. Okay, speeds 1000% just like knocks the user experience out. Like I'm done after that. I am like not even like a 1-star or 2-star. Like I am at 0. I am done. I am not even interested. I don't even want to know your name anymore. Okay. The last thing I put is lack of convenient integrations. Okay, so integrations is something that's also constantly evolving, and I totally get that. But it's another really important thing that kind of goes back to user experience. As an example, Squarespace very recently has finally started to integrate their e-commerce with social media, with Instagram, with Facebook. Okay, it's been like an ongoing beta for a really long time. It's finally launched. It's finally out. I'm sure there's going to be glitches, but the reality of the situation is they are constantly developing integrations to make the experience easier for their customer, who is us as business owners. And that translates into us making our customer user experience better. Okay. So the older you are in technology, the less chance you have of like actually being able to integrate with some of these things that are making our lives like way easier as a business owner, but also the conversion of your actual customer. Okay. The last thing you want is to give off a vibe that you don't fully care about your business or your customers. Okay. I'm not saying, like, I am definitely not saying that anybody here or anybody watching feels that way or like really just doesn't give a shit. If you do, you're probably not, and like being self-employed is probably not your best like avenue to take. But that doesn't matter whether it's your intention or not. If you give off a vibe, if somebody comes to it and they're just like, wow, they just really don't, like if they came to my website and like my website took 30 seconds to load, they're not going to book me to like change their website. They're going to be like, this bitch has no idea what she's doing. Why would I pay her money to make me a website when like her website doesn't even work? Okay, like things like that. Just think about that. Just make sure that you are paying attention to all of the things that your website portrays of you, because just do not forget that is your controlled space. Okay, never ever underestimate the importance of a mobile-friendly website. Okay, we touched on this before, but over 77% of people are viewing your information on a mobile screen, whether it's a phone, an iPad, whatever. Okay, so make sure that when you start to invest in, updating and cleaning up your website, make sure that mobile is part of that list. Okay, as a web designer, personally, I design for mobile before I design for desktop. That's kind of just like how my weird brain works. I think it's easier to start smaller and make it bigger later. But also because I know how important strategically it is for your mobile website to be like in tip-top shape. Okay, so do not underestimate that. And I know I'm not the only person who's like gone to someone's website that was not mobile friendly. IRS, Illinois tax site, like give an amen, because like it is so bad. It is so bad on desktop, but like it is like not even functional on mobile. It's ridiculous. Okay, last but not least, number 5 is not tracking your results. Okay, if you're not looking at your numbers, you are seriously missing out. Okay, so real talk moment here. How can you actually complain that your marketing isn't working if you don't have the numbers to back it up? Okay, raise your hand if you actively have Google Analytics like set up and attached to your website. Like raise your hand if you are actually generating numbers that you're looking at. I'll even give you points if you're generating numbers that you're looking at and you don't understand what they mean, but you like have numbers. I'll give you points for that. Okay, and then drop in the chat #guilty if you don't look at any analytics and you don't have Google Analytics set up. Whatever, I like, get in there, girl, because I was there for so many years before I finally dove into this. Okay, so like, do not be afraid, do not be ashamed. This is not a shame tour right here. Okay, this is just realistically speaking that I bet you half of you guys do not use Google Analytics. Okay, and that's okay, because not everybody's in the same part of their business. Like that's fine. We're all in different seasons of life, business, whatever. Okay, but the reality is, if you don't have the data, How can you develop a marketing plan? How do you know that you know? If I asked you today, where does your ideal customer hang out? And you say, oh, Instagram. And I'd be like, oh, cool. What kind of analytics you got there? Like, what's your demographic? Where are they? What time are they? And you're like, whoa. That's because you're not paying attention to the numbers, okay? There are analytics built into Facebook. There are analytics built into Instagram. And I will say you have to have a business account for these things, but those analytics are there for a reason, you guys. They didn't just like suddenly put analytics into our back end for like no reason, just to be like, oh, look how fancy we are. We can generate this stuff. Okay, that is not why it's there. It's there because we need it to continue to grow our businesses, to grow our marketing plans, okay? Looks like Kathleen says she just started to do it this year. Yeah, girl, get it, girl. Oh, Maureen, I look at the email they send me, but I don't get it. Okay, totally cool. Google, I like, okay, let me also say, Google Analytics is freaking overwhelming. Like, woo, freaking overwhelming. There are so many numbers, but when you start to understand what those numbers mean, it gives you the power to clearly develop a marketing plan to speak to the correct people, okay? Once you have any numbers, I don't give a shit if nobody goes to your website today. That is data, okay? That is ground zero. Now we know that we're not getting enough people to your website. So now we're going to go to the next step of that marketing plan to figure out why people aren't going there. Well, likely it's because you don't have a CTA. That's okay. We can fix that. All right, now we started to get people coming. Okay, how long are they staying on the website? Oh, they're not staying longer than 10 seconds. Okay, now we got a problem. That means our user experience is bad. Okay, so you see where I'm going with this? It is all a very, very connected thing. Okay, so yes, it's terrifying, but like, trust me, I get you. But we can get there, okay? Analytical numbers will show you so many things, okay? They'll show you how your customers are finding you, okay? Where are they coming from? Are they coming from social media? Are they coming from Google? Did they search for you? Did they directly write in your link because someone told them about you? Did they scan a QR code that took them to your website, okay? How did they get there? That's important to know, okay? What pages are they landing on first? That kind of goes back to the other one too, because like with QR codes and certain links, you know exactly where they came from because it was a specific link for that. What is your converting demographic? Okay, you can get your overall demographic as well, just like everybody that's looking at your site, but you can also get the data of the converting people. Who is it that's spending money? Who is it that's staying on the website long enough to actually retain information? Okay, what keywords are scoring high or low? Okay, where do you appear in Google search results? And what pages are or not converting, okay? Can you guys see now as you look through this list, how beneficial it would be if you knew the answers to like any of those questions, even just one, okay? So beneficial, okay? So if you don't track the results of your efforts, you can't know where you need to spend more time, energy, money. You may be wasting time on a platform that doesn't convert for you, but if you have no data to back it up, you can't make that decision. You can't make that decision on a whim by saying, well, nobody bought this when I put it on Facebook, so it must just not, like, does not mean that your offer is not worthy. It just means that it wasn't marketed correctly. It wasn't marketed at the right time. It wasn't marketed directly at the right person, okay? Never, never, never feel like you should be speaking to the masses. You shouldn't be speaking to the masses. You should be speaking to the people who you actually want to walk through your front door. For those of us that work at home, you're like metaphorical front door, okay? Numbers are scary. I 1000% get it. I hate numbers, like counting, not my thing. Like I literally just went broke paying my accountant. But like, listen, if I didn't do that, I'd be screwed. I'm awful at those kinds of numbers. Like, no, I'm not interested in that, okay? That is one place that I will 1000% invest my money because I know that it's done correctly, or if it's not done correctly, that's on them. That's not on me, okay? All right, does anybody have any questions about anything really at that point, about Google Analytics, about social media, about anything? Does anybody have any questions that I can address live? If you can't think of it now and you think like when we get off the call, feel free to drop a question in the comments below the video in the group, so that we can address like any and all of those questions, because I don't want you guys to feel like I'm preaching that like you need to do these things, but I'm not going to help you do it. Okay. Like that's why we're talking about these things, because I want to help you grow your business, better your business. Okay. That is why I'm here. I'm also apparently here with a squeaky chair and like a tickly throat from all the preaching. All right. So that is the last tip for today, but I do have something for you guys because I know that this is like super, super overwhelming. Okay. Very, very overwhelming. Okay. We are offering, me and my like technology team here, we are offering a Google Analytics setup for you guys because I know that this is something that is super daunting. Maybe it's not something that you're ready for. Maybe it's not something that you want to do. That's totally fine. This is literally just a like, I've had this conversation too many times in the last month for me to feel like if I don't offer a way to help people that I'm just gonna like, it's gonna eat me alive, okay? So we are offering Google Analytics either just set up alone or a setup in a basic training call, which basically walks you through what Google Analytics looks like on the back end, what it means, where you need to go, what numbers you need to be looking for. And that varies client to client because it very much depends on where you are in your entrepreneurial journey, what season you're in. Have you been doing this for 10 years? Have you been doing this for a year? It's very much tailored to each of you because everybody is different. But this is an offering that you guys can take advantage of if you want in the next week or two. I think the 15th is next weekend or next Friday or something like that. So my tech team has open time right now to work on these things with you guys. We will walk you through it. I will be on the call as well. So you guys can feel like this is like a group effort. Okay. Do not feel like you are a failure if you don't have this set up already, okay? If you do already have this set up and you just want to set up like a training call to understand the back end, just message me, let me know. Like we can absolutely work that out because I feel like you took the first step, you got it, you got it put together and you got it. Maybe you only set up the account. Did you actually add it to your website is a whole nother question, okay? Because that was me 4 or 5 years ago. That was me. I was like, oh yeah, I have Google Analytics, sure. And then they go and look in the back end and we're like, there's no data. Oh, well, I didn't actually enter the code into my website. Okay. Like we're all human. We're all like, we all do better in like certain situations than others. That's fine. That's just not a place I did very well. I wasn't really thinking about it. So if that is something that you are interested in, either drop a little hand raise in the comments below or message me directly, whatever, we'll get that set up for you guys. I just wanted to make something available to you guys to get you guys on the right path because there is no way for you to continue to develop a market. I mean, you're like beating your head against the wall if you are trying to build a marketing plan without having any data of what you're actually doing and what it's actually yielding. Okay. So to recap, okay, major marketing. Oh, Maureen, you got a question?
I don't know if it was just on Zoom, but that last slide,
The last one?
I'm seeing like half of it cut off. Is anyone,
Oh,
where it says 49 and then 200's crossed out, that like
weird.
the other half of the page is, now it's fixed.
Oh,
That's, I just wanted to read it. Thank you.
probably my internet.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you for letting me know that. Okay, so I will leave this slide on for like just a second, but to recap, okay, I'll come back to this slide in a second, but just to recap the marketing mistakes that we talked about, okay? So here are the things I want you to take away from today, okay? I want you to start focusing on quality instead of quantity. Please, please, please stop trying to chase this dream of like 10,000 followers on Instagram. Who freaking cares how many followers you have on Instagram? Are those people converting? Are they turning into customers? That's what I want to know, okay? Oh, I'm going viral on TikTok. Cool. Like, that's cool. I am like not a TikTok person. I'm like, I don't have the headspace for it. You're going viral on TikTok, dude. That's amazing. How much money are you making from that? Is that generating you revenue? Is the time well spent? Okay. Yeah, it's fun. And sometimes we just got to do fun things. I am all for that. Okay. I'm all for that. But if you're spending 5 days a week, however many hours a day focused on going viral on TikTok, I want to know where the money is. Wow. I want to know what the numbers are. Okay. I want you to focus on your call to actions. Okay. So anytime you're posting anything on Instagram, Facebook, whatever, you need to leave things that say, comments below your idea for spring break. Let me know in the comments what your favorite travel destination is. Tell them what to do. Okay. Stop relying on social media for sales. Okay. I am not saying leave social media, although I will absolutely say that a break from social media sometimes can be like the most clarifying thing. But do not rely on social media for sales. Rely on social media to reach the right people and guide them to a controlled space, okay? Keep your website up to date, okay? This can be a daunting task. It can be an annoying task. Like, I totally feel that, totally. But like, even the smallest changes that you can update every little while, trust me when I tell you, it will have never-ending benefits for you in the technology world. And I will say, I did forget to mention this before, but for people who have websites, if you are not blogging, you are also missing out. Now, I will also 100% get on this train of like, I'm not blogging, man, I don't have time for that. I get it, like I really do. But this year, I have really started to focus on, instead of trying to focus on blogging, being like, oh my God, where am I going to start with content? I'm not developing new content right now. I'm repurposing my 10 years of experience and content that I have built in my entire career. I'm repurposing it into blog posts so that I have a resource center for people to like to send people, but also to increase my searchability online, because a lot of those topics have absolutely to do with what I actually do for a living. Okay. So I'm not saying that you need to take on blogging and you need to blog every day. I'm not even saying you need to blog every month. I'm saying that blogging platforms have the highest like rating of search engine optimization capability. Okay, so I'm talking about like the organic searching. Okay, I'm not talking about like, I'm going to blog about what I did today, about what I ate today. I mean, if you're a food blogger, cool, but like, I'm not just talking like blog to blog. Don't blog bullshit. Blog your content. Think about the content that you can repurpose from 5 years ago, from 2 years ago. Okay, I repurpose by blogging, doing these co-working calls, turning them into podcasts, podcast episodes, all of these things. I'm repurposing the same content because, guys, there is no reason to reinvent the wheel. There is no reason for that. There are reasons to repurpose your content to be put on different platforms, to be able to bring in that data of who's seeing your stuff where, who's converting where. Okay, repurposing one piece of content into 10 different platforms, because, you know, Instagram stories is tall and Facebook is wide and LinkedIn is like almost better square, and like, okay, repurposing it in those different things is allowing me to get access to the data that I need to know where my customer stands. Okay. TED Talk over with that. But all right, last but not least, keep track of your efforts and results. Set goals so that you have something that's attainable, something that's tangible for you to look at. If you have a goal of making sure that you have 100 website views a month, okay, let's just say that's your first goal. Well, now you know what to look for in your analytics. Okay, if you know you're low, now, like if you can't get to 100 in a month, now you're like, okay, let's see why not. And you dig into some of the other numbers and you say, okay, well, people aren't staying on my website long enough. People aren't even seeing my sales page because it was either too hard to get to it or they just weren't on there long enough. Okay, so all of the analytics, all of that data is how we answer questions. Okay, last but not least, do not even think about spending money on any form of paid advertising until you have fully developed your customer avatar and your marketing plan. Okay, I get this question all the time. Should I be like marketing on Instagram? Should I be marketing on Facebook? My number one question is, okay, who are you marketing to? How old are they? What are their interests? All the things that you have to put in when you target your audience. And if people don't even know what I'm talking about, no, you should not be paying for advertising on there, because you are literally just handing over money to speak to the masses. Like, conversion rates are so freaking low for social media, for even Google paid advertisements, if you don't know who you're marketing to. Okay, those avenues can all be very lucrative. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that like never should you ever advertise on any of these platforms, but when you do, when you get to that point and you have money that you're willing to invest in this type of advertising, make sure that that money was already invested in making sure that you know your customer avatar and you know your marketing plan. Okay, all right, I'm done preaching for the day. If anybody has any questions, drop them in the comments below in the Facebook group. always, 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 I am here for you. Okay. I am here to cheer you on. I am here to help you grow your business, better your life. Okay. You can reach me on Instagram at This Way to Fabulous. You can message me directly on Facebook. You can email me, or you can head to my website if you want any other information about what I do, what I have to offer. There's a lot of freebies in that group as well, or in that website as well. I'm building the blog. It's still sort of under construction, but I am practicing what I preach. I am getting my content out there in multiple platforms. Okay. So thank you guys so much for showing up today. I super, super appreciate it. And like I said, if you guys have any questions, drop them in the comments below. If you are watching this later, #replay, so I know that you watched it. All right. All right, guys, have a great rest of your week.